The Silence by the Night video really has these two, this girl and a guy that just sort of are fleeing, you don't really know what from, they just get in a car and drive, and they genuinely did do that. They went on the road for about 3 days and drove from LA down to Texas in this beat up old Volvo, and they end up at this place where all our gear is, and we have, we do a bit of performing in the video, but it's a fantastic video, and we're lit by, it's a crazy idea to light us with just a spotlight. I'm not going to spoil it by saying exactly what happens, but it's a really dramatic idea. It involved us playing through the night in a quarry somewhere outside Austin in Texas, just sort of partly getting choked by dust and sand that was being kicked up, but it was really fun, a really different place to be, and it was, I don't know, we've done quite well so far. The video's been, people complain about videos being a pain to make, which they can be, but both of these so far have been really fun.
I think the song itself as well is, right from the start we thought it had a kind of big widescreen American sort of vibe to it, like a sort of Tom Petty or a Bruce Springsteen song, and we wanted to try and sort of capture the essence of that in this story of these great lovers travelling through this, through America, which is this, obviously this great land full of those kind of stories, and I guess that the video really sort of represents that as well.
Well, Silence by the Night was always a real favourite of mine. I wrote it very quickly, and it just kind of resonated for me. I think musically it's very kind of hypnotic. And also just lyrically it sort of put me in a place that felt very emotional, that sort of driving in the night, it's something I love to do. I'm sure a lot of people do. It sort of transports you into a sort of magical place of dreams and adventures, and I love that feeling, and I love the feeling of hope in the song, I suppose, the feeling of resilience and trying to break through to the sunrise. So I love it. I love the energy. It reaches out to a lot of people.
Photo by a really good friend of the band called Alex Lake, who's been taking photos of Keane for 8 years or something.
I think he was the first photographer to ever take sort of proper photos of us that have seen the light of day.
Yeah, and it's of the seafront in Bexhill-on-Sea, which is not far from where we recorded the album, and we all agreed that it was a sort of, apart from these guys having a sort of childhood connection to it, it also visually is sort of, it's not a mundane town, it's not fair to say that, but it's a very sort of, it's an everyman kind of town, like you can just imagine people just living their lives there. And so Alex went and took lots of photos along the shoreline and around the town, and that one stuck out to everyone as being suitable for the cover.
Yeah, it's right next to a place called the Sovereign Light Cafe, which is a little an old cafe on the seafront, right on the seafront promenade, where Tim and I used to go for cups of tea, having gone down to the beach and spectacularly failed to pull any local babes as sort of awkward teenagers who'd ridden there on our bikes. So it was as a place it means something to us, but also really reflects that song as well, I think.
I think it's a very rich image. I think it's very striking. When you look at it immediately, it's a very striking image, sort of almost two-tone quality to it. But then obviously the further you look into it, you realise you're kind of looking up a beach, and then you're also looking at this image of these quite sort of ordinary blocks of flats, and it's that sense of the natural world meeting with with human life. And I think those are things that are often themes in Keane songs. I find the more I look at it, the more ambiguous it can look as well. Like the buildings can sort of almost not look like buildings at all. It's quite a curious image, and I find it quite an intriguing one. So I think it works really well as a sort of description of Strangeland.